Hey guys, and welcome to Realm Royale. My name is Jaggerous, and today I have some tips and tricks for you guys in order to get better at the game. So first things first, go into your settings and find settings that work for you. The default mouse sensitivity is 15, and I think this is really high. Bear in mind it can go all the way up to 100. I personally like to play on about 3.5. My mouse is set to 1200 DPI, and those are the settings that I like. But, you know, fiddle around with it, fiddle around with your DPI and your sensitivity and find settings that work best for you, because if you can aim, you can hit. And the hardest part of Realm Royale is hitting shots, so aiming, finding ways to make your aim better is really going to help you out. On top of that, I recommend going into your key bindings and have a look at them and deciding how it is you want your bindings set up. I personally changed my abilities. I put them onto my mouse, so my ability 1 and ability 2 are now on the mouse rather than on 3 and 4, and I find this much easier to do because abilities are very important in combat, and I am able to access them without having to move my fingers, so I can still, you know, move around while I do it. It's pretty much okay. So those are the settings that I like. So next up, you have to decide where to drop. And there's different reasons for dropping in different places. Some people like to practice eliminations, or they want to get a lot of eliminations in their game. And if that's the case, I recommend dropping somewhere central like Lumberfall. Lots of people drop in Lumberfall. There will be a lot of combat going on there. So if you want to rack up those kills, that is a good option for where to go. However, some people prefer to drop in places that are a little bit less populated, in which case I recommend dropping away from forges and maybe even just outside the circle, as the circle typically is more concentrated in terms of players. This will allow you to farm up and gear up by collecting shards and crafting abilities and armor. Yes, you might not end up with a legendary weapon as early, but if you can utilize those abilities and armor to your advantage to get kills as you go, you should still be able to reach the late game, just with kind of fewer eliminations. With that said, when you drop, bear in mind that the positions of chests, including weapon chests, is fixed in the game. There will always be weapon chests in set locations. So if you learn the location of weapons chests, you can drop right next to them and get a guaranteed green weapon straight off the bat, which means if you're going into combat, this is going to give you the advantage. Similarly, you'll know where the health potion chests are, and you'll avoid them such that you don't walk straight into a room with potions when you're trying to find a weapon and die. The next tip I have for you guys is to use stereo headphones. These will give you directional sound cues, and sound cues are huge in this game. It's worth learning the different cues for the different weapons so you have an idea of what you're up against, and also listening to hear for fighting. And whilst if you want to get kills, heading towards fighting is sensible, play it smart. Engage in the fight maybe after two people have duked out and one of them is dead and the other one is low to give yourself the advantage. Don't go charging in and get caught off guard, but use those directional sounds to find the fights. So now that the fight is over, it's time to heal up. And so when you're sipping those potions, what I recommend is to spam the crouch button. This just makes you slightly harder to hit while you're vulnerable. So find somewhere to hide and then start drinking potions and spam crouch, just in case someone comes to get you. So now let's move on to some tips about your mount. So when you're riding around on your mount, you make a lot of noise. However, if you spam jump while you ride, your mount only makes noise when it's contacting the ground. So you'll only hear hoofbeats or whatever sound your mount makes as you move along the ground, which means if you spam jump, you actually make less noise than someone who's riding in a straight line. You're also a less easy to hit target because you're moving up and down. You're not just moving in a straight line. So while you're riding around, I do recommend spamming the jump key. So another mount tip that I learned from a player called Baggins TV is the reload mount. So if you press reload and then press mount right after, you will continue your reload while you do the mount animation, which means you can skip the reload animation. And as you get onto your horse, you'll notice that your ammo has replenished and you're on your horse, so saving a little bit of time and getting away a little bit quicker. So this is worth being aware of, that you can cancel that animation by quickly pressing reload before mounting. And last but not least, for those of you who don't know, you can emote by pressing V and then E. So if you want to taunt your opponents just that little bit after you've killed them, V then E. The default emote is wave, but more should be coming into the game soon. That's it from me for tips and tricks in this video. If you found any of these helpful, maybe leave a like on the video, and you can always subscribe for more Realm Royale content. My name is Jaggerous, and you can find me on Twitter @Jaggerous and on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jaggerous. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!